Family. Family is a core value for so many of us, if not all of us. It's one of, or for many of us, maybe the most important thing in our lives. St. John Bosco knew this, and that's why he founded a family under the guidance of the Holy Spirit for young people. For young people to have a path, a means to having access to the wider family that is the church, God's family. And while family is important to so many of us and we have a genuine love for family, we also know that family is not perfect. And while family should be the place where we are most loved, cared for, and protected, sometimes members of our family fail. Sometimes they hurt us. We know that as church, right now, we're living in a time in which our family has become aware of great hurt and failure. We know that there are young people, or those who, when they were young, were unfortunately hurt deeply. They were abused by the family that should have cared for them the most. It's been one of my great difficulties and pain as a Salesian to have accompanied some young people who have been abused as young people, whether that be verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and unfortunately, yes, even sexual abuse. Sometimes those who should love and protect us most are the ones who hurt us the most. And so that can lead us to a real crisis in family, which is what we are also living as church, that precisely those who were appointed shepherds, the ones who were supposed to be the most protective of the young, that there were some who failed to either protect or who did the hurt. Maybe you can recall an instance in family in which someone that you expected to be that loving protector was not. I have met way too many young people who either have had conflict with one or both parents, who have been neglected, who have, in some cases, allowed abuse, or even perpetrated, or extended family members. That pain runs so deep. It runs deep and it takes a very long time to heal. And what can complicate that even more so is when the others in a family, instead of coming together and rallying around the young person or the person who's been wounded, are divided against themselves. You know, if you have ever experienced or know someone who's experienced divorce, you can know the great difficulty that brings. When you don't know who to believe, mom or dad, or what's happening, your world gets turned upside down. I know that as a Salesian, accompanying young people in those situations is one of the most painful experiences that they can have. But I can also say that even more painful has been when a young person maybe tells a parent, one or both, about abuse and is not believed, or that leads to a division in the family instead of rallying around the child. We as a church are experiencing that as well. Our church family, in many ways, seems divided at times, instead of joining together to bring about the healing that young people so desperately need, and those who were hurt when they were young equally need. The way forward for this is not simple, and it isn't necessarily clear. There's no patent answer to just say this is the way to move forward. But if you think of some of the experiences in family that you have had that have been real trials and real challenges, if you have been helped in your wounds as family when you experience some sort of hurt, mistreatment, or division, if you were able to move forward, I'm willing to bet that part of that most probably had to be because there were those who put aside their own particular needs to try to bring about unity, who tried to bring about a spirit of faith, seeing beyond the current circumstances, who tried to act always with love, which is total interest, well-being, willing the good of the other and not simply the self. During this time as church in which we're experiencing this struggle in family, we need to once again come together in a spirit of faith and love. Because, just because there's some hurt or wound in family doesn't mean that family is no longer important. Doesn't mean that you're not a part of a family. What it means is that the rest of the family has to step up and help and heal. And maybe you've experienced that. Maybe it was mom or dad, or maybe if mom and dad were the ones for the hurt, maybe it was an aunt or an uncle or a cousin, but it was family that hopefully brought about that healing. And that's what we as church, as God's family, need to do. Recover our spirit of family, of faith, of hope, and of love, to bring about, once again, the healing that is so very much needed, and the sense of unity, true unity as a family, that can remind us once again of who God is calling us to be and what He wants us to continue to do in the world. Good night.